Let's get started. So when you're dividing, remember when you're dividing, do you guys remember dividing? Yes? It's like if I was dividing 15 by 5.
3.
Yeah, you would get 3, right? And so why is that? That's because 5 times 3 equals 15. Right? And the 3 was what we were looking for. This 3 was our answer. We multiply those two together, we get the result, right? And that's the same with polynomials. We're going this guy divided by this guy, which means our answer should look like this. I mean, like if we multiply them together. And I put x plus 3. So our answer that we're looking for is this guy. That's like our 3 that we're looking for. So if we divide those two polynomials, we will find what is missing right here. And we can do long division, but this is for synthetic division, so I'm going to do synthetic division. Now, when you do synthetic division, you need to make sure, just like if you were doing long division, that you're missing no terms. How do you know if you're missing terms? You notice if you're missing terms by the degrees. You see that says a 4? And then it goes 2, 1, no x. That's not right. Okay, what are we missing? We're missing an x to the 3. And so what you do is you just say plus 0x to the 3. You're not really adding anything. It's just like a placeholder. All right, so what are all the coefficients for this polynomial? What's the first one?
0.
It's a 1. What's the next one?
0.
And then? Negative 10. And then? And then?
4.
Okay, so you got this. You got 1, 0, negative 10, negative 2, and 4. And this is how I like to set it up. I like to draw a line right here, I draw a little thingy right there, and I draw a little thingy right there. That's just for me. That's how I like it. You can do it however you like it. The book does it slightly different, but that's how I do it. Okay, up here, this is a spot for the 0. Down here, that's a spot for the remainder. What is my 0 of this factor? It's negative 3. Oh, very good. So you think opposite, right? It's the 0. All right, so now you do the synthetic algorithm, which is simply like this. You bring down the 1 because he's the first number. And then you go 1 times negative 3 to get this number. So I'm going to put a negative 3 right here. And then you add these. What do I get when I go 0 plus negative 3? Negative 3. And then I'm going to go negative 3 times negative 3 to get my new number. What is negative 3 times negative 3?
9.
All right, now I add those. What do I get? Negative 1. You guys see what, like the pattern here? And then I go this number times this number to get the next number. Okay, now I'm going to pause this right now for a second, and I want you guys to finish this and then show your neighbor, see if you're right. So I'm going to unpause, I'm going to keep going now. If you got a 1 at the end, you should have gotten it right, okay? Or you did it correctly. So now I'm going to put negative 1 times the negative 3 right here, which is 3. And then I add these, I get 1, and then I go 1 times negative 3, which is negative 3, and I add those, I get 1. Okay, so how do you actually write your answer now? Because I'm not going to just write a bunch of numbers in here. I need to have like some x's and stuff inside there. What you do is you always follow this pattern. You always go remainder, and then you get a constant, and then you get an x term, and then you get an x squared term, and then you get, what's after x squared?
X to the 3rd.
Yeah, x to the 3rd. So on and so forth. You go for as many numbers as you have. So this is my answer. Our remainder is 1, which is 1 over x plus 3. Right? That was our remainder right here. And then you have the constant, and then you have the negative 1. All right, we're right there. What's next? Negative 3. Negative 3 what? X squared. And then what's right before that one? What's next? X to the 3, and it's just a 1. Now, you don't have to write this one or this one, but I'm writing it just for the sake of us doing it. So what we would do is we would write our answer right in here. To make it make sense, we have x to the 3rd minus 3x squared minus x plus 1 over x plus 3. Now, this just says this times this gives us this. That's all it says. Our actual answer is just this. Now, if you're stuck on this fraction right here, anybody stuck on that fraction? Like, why did he write that fraction? You need to remember what you did with remainders way back in the day. Way back in the day, you guys did something like this. Like if you had 14 and you were dividing that by 3, What is 14 divided by 3?
4.
Only 4 times, right? And we get 12, and we get 2 left over. 2 is known as your remainder, right? So this would be 4 and 2/3. Technically, we're adding the 2/3, but we don't write the plus sign right there. You always put the number that you're dividing on the bottom. That's why right here, I put the number that I'm dividing on the bottom. So that's where the x plus 3 came from.